Salina EsTitties, welcome to Cultural Attaché.
Thank you for having the titties.
Um, we're talking about La Cage aux Folles at Pasadena Playhouse. And, when I first met you, you were going to drama school in Los Angeles. This was probably 11 years ago,
Oh
or
my God.
11 or
Yeah.
12 years ago.
2008 to 2011 is when I was in school. So that,
Right. So it was in the towards the end of that time. And I remember having conversations with you about how much musical theater meant to you and how you wanted to really pursue that. What does it mean to you now today, this many years later, to be part of this production of La Cage aux Folles?
it's a dream I forgot about in a way, because I started doing drag about 10 years ago, and that kind of took over because in a way drag became my own version of theater for myself, that I got to self-produce and create and play any role that I wanted. And Drag Race of course happened, and as a result, the universe has brought me back into this realm of musical theater, and in the most like beautiful, professional, like it's an equity show. You know what I mean? And I'm at the Pasadena Playhouse, and it's the community there is just so wonderful and beautiful, and the cast itself is just so talented and pristine, and it feels so wild to be back in the musical theater like world in this way, combining drag at the same time. So it's kind of like full circle, and it's also reminded me like, oh yeah, I do this and I can do this. So it's been a super, super beautiful like homecoming in a way for me.
Well, there's a lot to unpack in that answer, to be honest with you, because for those people who don't know, you were on season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race. You came in sixth, which is a lot better than coming in 16th. I think anybody who makes it to the top eight has accomplished you know, a
Yeah, I,
huge
I forget
accomplishment.
too in the moment that like, oh, I beat out a lot of people to get at that far at least, so it was an achievement.
And ironically, you lost in the Rusical. So
Which is so silly, right? It's so funny because it wasn't because of the Rusical that I lost. Ultimately it was something else, but everyone did amazing in that Rusical. But of course, the Rusical, I wanted to at least get to the Rusical in the season two because musical theater. And yeah, that Rusical too was fantastic. I think they also that was the episode they submitted for the Emmy that we ended up winning. So yeah, it was just amazing.
and it's not like you were an unknown creature to the stage either. I mean, I believe you played Dawn in two different productions of A Chorus Line,
I
and then you
did.
were also part of the ensemble of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert at Celebration Theater.
I was.
That's a lot.
I wish it was more, you know?
Right, but for people who only know you for Selena, as Selena, it's not like this is unfamiliar territory. This was the dream.
Yeah, ultimately it really was. And being a part of this production of La Cage has definitely awakened that dream in me and has opened up ideas of new dreams for me now. I'm like, oh, this is actually a road I can walk down again, which is cool.
And it's not like RuPaul's Drag Race hasn't launched a bunch of people's stage careers either. I mean,
Oh,
Jinx Monsoon wouldn't be where she is without either Drag Race or Broadway. You could say the same about Nina West. I mean, and then Alaska has her own show that she's doing in New York right now. And Alaska, preceded you in a production at Pasadena Playhouse.
exactly. And like even thinking about that because people at the Pasadena Playhouse told me like, "Oh, we've worked with Alaska before." And I was like, "Whoa, Alaska's trajectory literally brought her to Pasadena Playhouse and now she's off Broadway in New York City with her own musical." So like the possibilities are endless.
Well, tell me about this production of La Cage. I know not a lot has been said about the approach to this one, but I'm guessing based on the backstage photographs that were shot of all of you, that this is not going to be a traditional production of La Cage.
Um, I absolutely am honored to be working with Sam Pinkleton. It's his brain and Ani Taj, the choreographer, like them two together are creating such a beautiful joyful, fun, quirky like rendition of the show that we've never seen before. And if anything, being a drag queen since Drag Race, I've gotten to travel the world and visit many different drag scenes in the country, and beyond. And if what they're doing with this is really getting to the core of what the show is about and presenting it in a very real way that's true to what drag is in my from my perspective, in my opinion, it's very true to the world of drag and gay bars and community that actually exists in the world, which is really, really cool.
Now, since you are being billed as Salina instead of your non-drag name, is there is Salina part of this show, or is Salina a cast member of the show? Like, for instance, are we going to see Salina's identity as part of what you bring as a cagelle?
My cagelle character's name is Betel, and it's definitely inspired by Selena, of course. Selena will be on that stage as Betel, and you'll see her pop out because there's no denying the crazy personality that I am when I'm dressed up.
Well, how much does being Salina allow you to cut loose, to be, a bigger, less afraid version of yourself?
Oh my God, I think that's the power of drag. I think that's what drag is here to do for people when they experience it. And that's explored in the show too. People if you know the story, that people have to get into drag to save themselves at the end, and that Selena has saved me in so many ways and has taught me in so many ways how to be more confident, how to speak up for myself, how to use my voice, how to implement all that I can be, in even in performance realm, like Jason sometimes wasn't a lot. I remember I auditioned for the producers of the Hollywood Bowl when they had done the producers. And I remember the person casting pulled me aside, the director, and was like, "Hey, we love your look and we love how you dance, but can you just like man up your arms a little more? They're just a little too like you finish your lines a little too pretty." And I'm like, I don't know what kind of note that is. But when I'm in drag, I can do whatever kind of line with my arms I want to, and it's fabulous and accepted and fantastic. So, I think about that all the time. Selena has opened a lot for me and allows me to be a more realized version of myself, as crazy and outlandish as she is.
You brought up the producers, which is kind of ironic because I looked up who some of the former cagelles were in the history of La Cage, and Katie Huffman, who won a Tony Award um, for her role in the producers, was a former cagelle. Brad Oscar, who went on stage in the producers, was a former cagelle. So it's like
Oh.
it can be a springboard for people.
No, cagelles are a thing because every time I run into someone who hears I'm in the show, they're like, "Oh, I played the cagelle on the national tour of this. Oh, I was in the original production." I've met so many people who were cagelles and like love to come up to me and be like, "Good luck on that can girl."
Well, for those who don't know, what is a cagelle in La Cage aux Folles?
The cagelle is one of the queens at the club La Cage. So Alban and George own the club, and the cagelles are the performers within the club in their show.
And they play a pretty substantial role in this musical. This is not like you just come on for a number or two, like, say, the strippers in Gypsy, for instance.
You got it. I actually just performed that number with Nina West and Peppermint at the box in New York City. You got to have a gimmick. So funny you said that. But no, we're definitely a critical part of the show. And it's so funny. There's this like whole drama happening within the story of the show, and at the same time, the Cagelles are just here living their life. So it's this like back and forth between their drama and like also being thrown into the show. It's very fun dynamic, and the way they're Sam is utilizing us in the show has been very, very, and directing us even has been so cool and like inclusive.
It's interesting because if you look at the storyline in La Cage aux Folles, the straight son of the club owners, the gay couple, falls in love with a girl who's the daughter of a politician who's very conservative. And I don't know what was going on in, in the minds of Pasadena Playhouse, but the timing is kind of spot on for being topical. What do you think Lacage has to say about the world we live in today for a show that goes back? What are we talking about? We're talking about, 29, 30, 40 something years.
hmm It's, it's wild because we had Tuesday election day off from from rehearsals, and Wednesday we came back with the news of who had won, and everyone's energy. We're all so exhausted, A, from rehearsing, B, from the chaos of the world, and to have been there together with each other that on Wednesday after the election results, and then to do the show. The show flourished in a very interesting way because it became a lot more real to our experience, in the country that we're facing in the country. And I don't know, something shifted, I feel, for me watching it, being a part of it. And it's so it's like art art reflects life, right? And imitates life. And here we are putting on a production that is so much fun, so much joy, so much love, so much like chosen family, real family love and community. And in this community and loving family, there's this character who is very much very reminiscent, right, of someone in the country. So it's interesting how the trajectory of the show, what happens too at the end, it's just like, oh, this is, in a way that Lacage is our America, is, for me, is my version of America, how, I would love America to be. And I feel like if not even drag queens and glitter and glam, it's more just the love that and the joy that we've created in the show is how I wish we were in the country. So it definitely has it's interesting how it's come at this time, but I think it's so also so very necessary. The Pasadena Playhouse, like their emphasis is community, and the community there in Pasadena in Southern Los Angeles, the show that they put on is based in the community that they've cultivated there. And to be a part of the community, A, has been so amazing. And again, like I said, a homecoming for me back into the theater world. And for us to take care of our community by putting on this show, I think is what this show is, why this show is happening.
And one of the things I love about Pasadena Playhouse is Pasadena Playhouse, year by year is destroying the mythology that Pasadena is filled with, blue-haired old ladies and staunch conservatives. I mean, you wouldn't have expected this show to necessarily be at Pasadena Playhouse 15 years ago.
Hmm.
Now it
And
feels like it fits right in, particularly after, Sam did that completely joyous production of Head Over Heels.
totally. I when the cast was announced, I remember Sam posted on his Instagram, look at this beautifully queer cast. And like almost everyone in the cast, is queer to some extent. And as I went to the first rehearsal, I was like, whoa, I'm in community, not only in theater community, not only in like professional, artist community, I'm in queer community, showing up to work every day. And that has been a an amazing gift. For me growing up, I grew up in the Castro in San Francisco with my gay uncles, and then I moved straight to West Hollywood to go to school. And I've lived in West Hollywood ever since I moved to LA since I was 17. I've always craved gay queer community and put myself in that safe bubble in a way. And here I am in my workplace getting to do that too, which is so, so fantastic.
It is terrific. And I have to say, I look at the cast of Cagelles and I love the fact that it's all shapes, all sizes. It's like it's not, you're traditionally expecting, showgirl type people. And I think the way that this show has been cast is far more reflective of the real world.
Exactly. And let me tell you, just as talented, and like, right, like you would think, oh, how is this group of this bunch like cagelles, and like we'll show you. Let us show you how. It's fantastic. And I think that's what makes, again, this show so so exciting and so based in a way in reality, and a beautiful reflection of what it's like out there and what our community is like. Our community is, America is all shapes and sizes and colors, you know? So it's very exciting, and the talent too is just over the top. It's insane. It's very, very cool.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that you have someone like Cheyenne Jackson in the show either.
Hello.
I remember the first time I saw him was in Xanadu. That was the first musical I saw him in.
Let me tell you, when I was in college, they told me I was 18 years old and they said, pick a leading man on Broadway right now that you would love to model your career after, that you see yourself like walking the footsteps in. And I had picked this photo of Cheyenne in his blue booty shorts and the skates from Xanadu. And I was like, this guy is talented, gorgeous, and what I want to be like. And here I am, almost 20 years later in a show with him. And it's been so cool. He's the sweetest and most talented and most sincere. And his take on George, it's the father in the show. It's so funny because Cheyenne is also a father. He has a husband and two kids. And I watched his I used to make protein shakes for Cheyenne at my gym that I used to work at. Cheyenne was a client and I would make him protein shakes. So I was actually familiar and friends with Cheyenne before the show, and watching his father journey in real life now translated into the show where he is the ultimate father of the cagelles of Jean-Michel. Like he is daddy.
So if you wanted to walk in Cheyenne's footsteps, when you were a teenager as the actor whose career you would like to emulate, has realizing this opportunity to work with him reinforced that idea that is still a career you'd like to go after, you would like to see Salina have, or you as Jason have?
Yes, I am definitely, part of me had let go of the musical theater dreams because I'm like, well, I'm a drag queen performing in drag bars. But I think if anything, drag queens, especially from RuPaul's Drag Race, have shown us is that there is there is endless possibility for where we will show up. You know what I mean? If Jinx is on Broadway, Alaska's on her way there. There's no reason why I couldn't be either. I would love to say if there's ever a musical rendition of Tu Wong Fu, to play Chi Chi Rodriguez would be a dream role. I don't even know if it doesn't exist or anyone's writing it, but like that would be, I think, the perfect role for me in a dream role if that were a thing.
Somehow, as you're talking about that, I have a vague recollection that there was discussion about turning that into a musical. Now, whether it was anything more than a conversation, I do not know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
but that would be fun. So what's next for you? What do you do after Lacage? Lacage is going to be running into into early December.
Mhm.
Um, and then does Selena go back on the road?
I would love that. Mama needs to pay her rent, so we'll see. I'm currently just launched a podcast called The Homegirl Hotline. It's almost like a self-help type advice column podcast where Selena gives advice to the homegirls. And so that's kind of been my focus outside of the show. And when the show's over, yeah, I'm just gonna continue that. Continue. I have some music, Christmas music I'm working on that I'll be releasing. And I've been inspired. This being back in this world has inspired me. So I'm writing some projects and working on some scripts at the moment too.
That's great. Tell me about working with Sam and what makes him unique as a director.
Oh my God. He is just the most excited, curious, and collaborative human. He's so sweet. And it's like you can when you talk to him, when you see him, when you're in the room with him, you just feel the vision, like it's so clear what he's creating and where the direction is going, that you can fully trust him in his it's so interesting too how much his quirkiness comes out in the show without him even having to say anything. Like his presence just allows for us to be open and create exactly what the show needs to be, and so easy to work with, like very, very, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Very, he's like Play-Doh. He's just willing to play and it just goes, you know, it just works.
That makes work fun and not just work, I suppose.
Oh, 1000%. And I mean, it's what a gift for us to show up and, Sam is telling us to play with a bunch of fake bird objects. You know what I mean? Like it's so crazy what we're doing. It's so silly. But yet so I feel needed and important right now too. It's so cool.
Um, so if you were asked to finish the sentence, I am what I am, and what I am is, what would you say?
Is an illusion.
Well, yes, but that's the lyric.
No, I think I am what I am and I'm present right now. I'm like present. I'm in my body. I'm experiencing what needs to be experienced and I'm showing up and I'm stepping up to the plate as scared as I am. I'm excited and I'm here. Cynthia Revo.
There you go. You threw a little color purple there. Well, is it more daunting getting on stage in front of an audience to do this than it is to get on stage in front of the judges at RuPaul's Drag Race?
Mm. They're two very different worlds.
Of course.
Here we're rehearsing every single day to create a work of art, and on Drag Race, you have one shot on that runway to show off something you made in 2 days. So, uh, I would say I heard rumor that Rue and Michelle might actually be coming to the show, and so that is if anything, that has me very excited to really, and like on the runway, you're just walking the runway in an outfit. Here I'm getting to explore and showcase every aspect of my talents from drag to my singing to my dancing and my acting. And I'm very much more excited right now in this moment to be doing massage for people.
Of course. Of course. Um, if you were to go back in time to when you chose to pursue acting and give yourself advice that you needed, this is a bit of a RuPaul question. But
Mhm.
if could go back to when you're the first inklings of this is what I want to do to where you are today, if Salina today could give you advice, what would it be?
Um, I think it would be trust the process. When I graduated, so funny, when I graduated college, musical theater college, my final performance song was Today for You, Tomorrow for Me, which is Angel from Rent, who, presents as a drag queen. And in at that time, I never thought I would be a drag queen. I had no want to be a drag queen. That was never on the forefront. I was trying to be Cheyenne Jackson, with thighs out on Broadway. Like that was the trajectory. So to have gotten Today for You, Tomorrow for Me as my final song, the universe knew where I was headed before I did, and look at me today. So I would say just trust the process and like follow step into those heels, honey, because I resisted the heels for a long time. Like I would quit drag and go back and quit drag and go back. So I'm like, no, I'm a boy who performs this way. But like, no, honey, you're a queen. Be the queen.